Hi there, welcome. This is Susie. If you can hear me, and on my screen you should see the first slide that says I'm Susie Nelson, and today we're going to talk about bookings. And if you can hear me okay, can you please type a note in the chat so that I know what's going on and make sure everything's working okay? Welcome everybody. We have lots of people signing on. That's awesome. If you can hear me okay, if you could please type a note in the chat that you can hear me, that would be super. Yay! Hi there. Can you hear me okay? Yes, thank you, Ray. Super. And I'm assuming you can see my PowerPoint, which says I'm Susie Nelson and has my picture on it. Yes, yes. All right, super. All right, we're going to give people a time to get logged on. I know it's a busy weekend, but we'll give everybody a chance to get logged on, and then we're going to dig in because I have so much really important information to share with you. So we'll give them just a second. I see we have more people logging in here. Welcome. I would love for you to tell me where you're from and what company you're with. So go ahead and type that in the chat. Let's see what we've got going on. So just type in the chat where you're from and what company you are with. Let's see. So what companies are you with? I'm just so curious, and I want to thank you all for filling out the survey. Everybody who did that, that gives me such great information. So I really, really appreciate that. Some Ray from Murphy's, California, 10 years with Silpata. That's awesome. Congratulations. We've got Amanda in North Carolina. Hey, yay, you're in my backyard. I'm in North Carolina too, and with 31. So welcome, Amanda. Hi, Stephanie. I saw your name. I saw you were registered. I was glad to see that. Madison, Wisconsin. Hi, with Deb with Great Big T's. That's awesome. I'm so glad you're on this webinar tonight. That's super. Let's see. All right, we're getting filled up here. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. All right. All right, so first I want to really encourage you if you've got other stuff going on, right? So if you've got your Facebook open, or if you've got your emails open, or you've got your phone and you're texting, put all that stuff away, because I want to share some really important and really powerful information with you here in the next hour. And I want you to leave this knowing that you can really grab hold, and you know, when you learn booking skills, you can just do incredible things with your business. So our goal tonight is to give you some ideas of just where you can go with your business if you choose, if you master your booking skills. All right. So with that, now I'm going to be going through information. I'll be checking in periodically for questions, but since I don't have a second person monitoring the chat, you know, so bear with me that I'll be checking back and forth, okay? All right, so let's dig in. First of all, I'm Susie, and I'm so excited to talk about this topic. It's so important for your business. So tonight, I am going to be teaching you the easy way to get bookings, okay? And seriously, you can master this skill, and it can become the easy way to get bookings. Trust me on this, all right? So booking parties is the most important skill for success in your business, right? Everybody gets that. So when I first launched my home party business, I had very little coaching or training. In fact, my sponsor quit the business a few days after I started. And so, again, keep in mind, I've got 25 years experience in the business. So when I was first starting out, we didn't have, online training. We didn't have back offices. We still had VCRs. Okay, and I know those are dinosaurs now. So there was very little training. I was in my company when it was in its first year, so I was the only consultant in the state. My manager lived 5 hours from me, so to go and attend one of her her monthly sales meetings when it was on a weeknight just wasn't going to work unless I chewed up all my vacation time, right? So I really didn't have much help, and I struggled and I struggled and I struggled to get bookings. Okay, and there's a couple more things that are important to share, and that is that I worked full time. I was a manager at the company where I worked, so I just really struggled, and I couldn't approach those people at my job because I was a manager, right? So I was stuck there. And so I want you to know my own mother never hosted a party. She said, you can have them at the house. I'll prepare all the food and clean the house and have everything ready. But she said, I don't want to host a party. So make it clear when people arrive that I am not the hostess. Turns out she didn't want to start getting invited to all the other kind of parties that they would host. So, okay, my own mom never did a party. And of all my friends, only one of my really close friends ever hosted a party. So I want you to know, even with all that, you can still be hugely successful, all right? My biggest problem was this, too. So even when I did manage to book a party, I didn't get new bookings from that party. So I'd work so hard and, figure out and finally connect with somebody and get somebody to book a party. And then I would do that party and I wouldn't get any future bookings. So it was really a dead end. So I was doing these silly things, right? So as I did the party and everybody would sit down to do their orders because they loved our products, I'd say, would you like to book a party? And they'd say, no. And I'm from Minnesota. We're known as Minnesota Nice. And I'd say, thank you. And then I'd think, oh my gosh, why did I just thank this person for not booking a party? And then I'd feel totally rejected and I'd feel sad. And so the next few people who would come to my order table, I wouldn't even ask them to book a party because I was still back there with that other person who told me no, right? So not a very good way to run a business. I desperately wanted to have control of my life, and I desperately wanted to get out of my engineering job. I had changed jobs, and I had this boss who didn't think women should work, and he was awful to work for. And so I just really was at that point. I wanted to take control of my life. I knew my home party business could give me what I wanted. And that's true for all of you. I hope that you all have fabulous goals with your business. And I hope that you understand that you can build to whatever level you choose in your home party company. Nothing's stopping you, right? It's equal opportunity. You don't have to wait for somebody's job to open up for you to move up the ranks, right? Anybody can do it if you choose. So I knew I could create what I wanted to create, but not if I couldn't figure out how to book parties. So if you think about it, I just like to put up this little chart, right? So 0 bookings at my parties meant my business was dying. And 1 booking at my party meant that I was maintaining, right? So if I did a party and I booked 1 future party, then I was kind of holding my own. But if I started to get 2 or 3 or 4 bookings at my parties, that meant my business was going to be growing, and it was going to grow rapidly. So, hello, where did my thing go? There we go. So I became passionate about mastering this skill, right? I just really knew this is the most important skill for my success. So I became passionate about mastering this skill. And by the way, booking parties is a skill. I like to say it's like riding a bike. Now, when you rode a bike, right? You probably started on a trike, and then maybe you moved up to a bike with some training wheels, and then hopefully you then got rid of the training wheels, and then you maybe were a little wobbly, but pretty quick you got the hang of it, and now you, even if you haven't ridden a bike for 10 years, you could hop on one and zoom down the street, right? The same thing is true with your booking skills. All right, I just want to check in. Is everybody still hearing me okay? Just want to make sure I had someone who said they're not receiving anything, so I want to make sure. Is everyone hearing me okay? Just put a little, yes, we can hear you in the chat. Make sure everything's working okay. Everybody good? All right, just want to make sure we're doing okay. All right, so let's keep moving on. All right, so here's what I did, because I knew that I had to really master these skills. So because we didn't have online training or any of those things, I did study what training we had from my own company. And so, you know, I did dive into that, and that was good training, all right? But I really wanted to just know these skills inside and out. I knew that would help me grow my business. So I lived in a town where there was, at the time, a Tupperware distributorship. They used to have distributorships in different locations around the country. And so I joined Tupperware. I was already with my women's clothing business. I joined Tupperware so I could attend their local sales meetings. And so, you know, I'm not telling you should go out and join a second company. I'm telling you this because I was going to do whatever it took to get this skill. Okay. So I started attending their local meetings, and I did go out and sell some Tupperware because I felt, you know, I owed them that respect for having them, you know, welcome me to their meetings and let me attend their meetings. I also invested in dozens of training programs from top sales trainers. And I want to really point out, these weren't sales training from people in direct sales. These were sales trainers who trained people in every kind of industry, from real estate, you know, to selling vacuum cleaners, to selling alarm systems, to selling any kind of service or business you can think of. They were the top sales trainers. I also invested in a Dale Carnegie sales course to the tune of $1,500, and that was like a 10 or 12 week course, and I had to drive to downtown Minneapolis and attend that every week. I also experimented, right? I tried different things at my own parties to see what worked and see what didn't work. I also attended lots of parties with consultants from other companies because I wanted to see what I thought worked and what didn't work. And, you know, when they would do different things, I'd watch the reaction of the guests in the room, and I would see if they got good results or if they, you know, and how they approach things. So I learned a ton. And the result is, after I invested hundreds of hours and thousands of dollars, I went from struggling to book parties to consistently booking 2, 3, 4, or even more parties at my parties. And that was my breakthrough point, right? When I could go and break through from just barely getting one party from one party, if I was lucky, to now booking 2, 3, 4, or more parties at every party I did. That's a big changing point in my business. And because I was meeting so many new customers and hostesses, I started connecting with lots of prospects, and my team started to grow. As I built my team, I knew I had to teach them what I had worked so hard to learn, right? Because if they didn't get parties, their businesses weren't going to get off the ground, or their businesses weren't going to grow. And I wanted to help everyone I sponsored grow their business. So that's how I built one of the top organizations in my former home party company. My organization had sales that most years hit $1 million or more, and one year we even exceeded 2 million. Once I personally mastered my booking skills and learned how to teach my team members booking skills, my organization grew exponentially. All right, it took off and grew like crazy. And that let me kiss my engineering job goodbye. I was making at the time close to $50,000 in that job. I kissed that job goodbye and I replaced that income within 12 months. And 1 year later, my income from my home party business exceeded 6 figures. So I grew it that quickly. And really, it's because I mastered my booking skills. So fast forward to today, I've literally taught thousands of consultants how to get bookings, what I call the easy way. And that's the focus of our training. This training is for you if you've worn out your warm market, meaning your friends and family, if the way you're booking parties right now isn't working for you, meaning you struggle to book even one party at your parties. This training's for you if you know that mastering booking skills is the way to get your business growing, but it's just not happening. It's the training for you if you're stuck in the hostess roller coaster. And what I mean by that is that you book the same hostesses over and over and over again, so you're not meeting new business prospects. And this training's for you if you're passionate about building a productive team, but you're concerned that if you sponsor any of your hostesses, it will leave your calendar empty. When you implement what you will learn in this training, you will easily start booking 2, 3, even 4 or more bookings at your parties. And because you'll have more bookings than space on your calendar, which is a really good problem to have, you will feel confident about approaching the 2 or 3 hot prospects that are at every single party you do. I know people don't always believe that, and it's always because they haven't asked, right? But there are 2 or 3 hot prospects at every party that you do. And because you'll no longer be concerned that sponsoring will leave gaping holes in your calendar, you'll be very comfortable to talk and reach out to them. It'll also be clear that you can easily get your business on track to earn a promotion because both you and the team members you sponsor and train will have more than enough bookings to meet any monthly sales requirement. So today we're going to cover, and we've got a lot to cover here in this time frame. Number 1, push versus pursue versus attract. Okay, now I'm going to give you a big hint. Attract is the easy way to book parties. I'm going to just talk about some basic concepts that really helped me grab hold with my business. We're going to talk about my 3 to 8 system and how just 3 new bookings can completely transform or turn around any consultant's business. And number 4, we're going to talk about how to use different booking strategies for different scenarios, such as one-on-ones or vendor events or fundraisers and more. I'm going to teach you as much as I can in the next hour, and I promise to show you how you can get access to some additional training. Is everybody doing okay? Everybody get it? So everybody ready for me to dig into this? Just put a note in the chat. I'm just checking in. I can get talking and all of a sudden it's like, oh, it hasn't worked for 20 minutes. So just want to make sure everybody's okay. All right, and I saw someone with a note saying the slides are blurry. I'm not sure why that's happening, but thank you for letting me know. All right, so here we go. Part 1, push, pursue, or attract. Now, push is if you're playing booking games at your parties, okay? I'm not a huge fan of booking games, and let me tell you why. First of all, it really is extreme manipulation. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, here's a gift if you want the gift. Keep in mind, you might be forced to book a party if you open a gift and that's what's in the gift. Okay, so it's extreme manipulation. People who tell you to do booking games, what they don't actually tell you, they don't connect the dots. And that is that booking games really, people have high postponements and high cancellation rates when they have booked parties with booking games, okay? And that's because the hostess hasn't really bought into the decision, right? She might be honoring because she took the gift, but she hasn't really bought in and feel responsible for her decision. Some hostesses who do follow through on those bookings, not all, some will do a great job, but some hostesses booked through games won't do a great job because they haven't mentally bought into the idea. And most important is that when you teach booking games, that isn't a skill that can be easily used in lots of different situations. All right. So, yes, it might work at some parties for some people, but it's not a skill that you can translate to vendor events or that you can translate to networking events or to fundraisers. So, it really isn't a skill that is a skill. Okay. It's really just a game. Pursue, that's when you use that really assumptive language and kind of, kind of size up the room and you think, oh, I bet you she's going to book a party. And you kind of focus in on that person and you pursue her around the room. Now, I think it's very similar to when you walk into a furniture store. And when you walk into the furniture store, they're on rotations as far as who they are going to actually connect with. So they follow you around because you're their lead when you walk in. And so they'll follow you around and they'll say, can I help you? What can I help you find? What are you looking for? And they can get to be a little bit frustrating, right? Because they're pursuing you around the store. So at a party, when you're doing that, Rosemary, when you have your party, wink, wink, nod, nod, and everything the person says, you somehow turn that into why they're doing that as a party. So it can get really irritating. It's high pressure. Some guests will actually go on the defensive when you use that approach. So the way that I really mastered booking parties is the attraction mode. And this is the easy way to book parties. Now, I don't want you to misinterpret when I say that it's the attraction mode. I don't want you to think that means you sit on the couch and hope and pray that somebody's going to call you and book a party. Okay, because attraction mode is just means that you do the proper things so that you're no longer in a situation where people are resisting. Okay, instead they're attracting to you. So when you're working the attraction mode, you understand that booking parties is merely another product that you're selling. That's so important. So attract means you're incorporating a sales process. You simply explain the benefits of booking parties throughout your presentation, and then you ask the right way. Okay, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. It focuses on the prospective hostess and her needs. Okay, it's never about you. It's about the prospective hostess and what's in it for her. She feels excited about her upcoming party because she has made the decision. And it doesn't rely on hostess specials of the month. I want to talk about that for a minute. I really think that many companies in our industry have gotten much too dependent on hostess specials of the month. And I can tell you this because my first 18 years with my home party company, we didn't have any such thing. We had a really simple hostess program. It was, have 3 guests there, get 10% of the sales towards your selections. If there's a couple bookings, it goes up to 20%. Boom, done. Okay. So I actually think that they did me a favor because that meant I really had to learn how to sell hostesses on the concept of booking parties. All right. So I don't want you to rely on that. In fact, I would love to see you approach your business as though all of your hostess specials went away tomorrow. And that just look at them as a huge gift, and they can be kind of your closing tool. But learn how to do this process and this sales process easily. When you learn these skills, it will also help you in other situations because it's just selling. So this, again, will help you become a better at sponsoring, right? Better at approaching a prospect about looking at your business, connecting with her, going through the closing, just like you would do with booking skills, right? It'd even help you at anything outside of your home party business. I know lots of people in home party business who become very successful realtors because they learn this selling skill. It's all the same thing. It's selling. All right, so I want to talk about some basic concepts first, okay? All right, first, my lather, rinse, repeat formula. Okay, so I'm going to cover, let me go back a slide. Lather, rinse, repeat, 6 steps to accepting an idea, and booking is selling that I've already started to talk about. So lather, rinse, repeat. When I figured out that my business really was a process. Now you got to remember, I'm an engineer, so I've got this whole engineering thing going, right? So I look at everything as systems and processes. So when I figured out that booking parties, or actually the business itself, was just a process and it had a formula to it, not only did it help me figure out where I could improve my business, but it helped me to diagnose very easily where my consultants got off track. Because I could just ask some questions, look at the formula, and say, well, of course she skipped this part. Okay, so here's the formula. I call it lather, rinse, repeat. Number 1 is that you network and you connect with people. That's the beginning of the process. So if they're your warm connections, you know, obviously you're going to connect with them and tell them you started this business. If they're people that you're just meeting on the street, you're going to get to know them and start to build a relationship. Part 2, once you've made a great connection, and that might take a little bit of time, right? Now that you've made a good connection, get them excited about your products. All right, very important. Number 3, when they're excited about your products and they've got a whole bunch of stuff that they put on a wish list, now you can explain the hostess benefits and ask them to book a party. Once they've booked a party, they're your business partner for that party, right? So you want to coach them extremely well. Once you've coached them well, you're going to do what I call an effective presentation. And this is really important. An effective presentation, number 1, is going to produce high sales because you owe that to your hostess. It's going to produce future bookings, right? 2, 3, 4 new bookings. And it's going to help you identify those 2 or 3 hot prospects that are at every single party you do. All right, so part 6 then is you're going to schedule connections to go through the info about your business with those prospects. Number 7, sponsor those new team members and train them and coach them well. And then you repeat. So that's lather, rinse, repeat. Now, you might go, duh, right? But you would not believe how many people mess this up. Okay? All right, so let me give you a great example, right? So a new person starts in the business, they're all excited, and they call someone who's never seen or tried or, you know, seen, touched, felt, smelled, whatever it is that your products, you know, that someone does when they see them in person. And they call them up and they say, I started with XYZ company. Do you want to book a party for me? Now they've skipped number 1, they've skipped number 2, you know, they've just basically said, hey, you want to book a party? They haven't even explained the hostess benefits. That's when I say they've skipped right to step number 3. And so literally when I'm coaching a new consultant and she goes, oh, you know, I did this and nobody booked. And it's like, okay, so let's talk through this. Tell me what you did. Tell me what you said. And I can figure out, you know, that's because she didn't even spend time to get to know these people, or whatever the case might be. So it's a really important formula, and I used this to really manage my business. All right, so I put the wrong information on this slide. So the 6 steps to accepting an idea. All right, so step number 1 is that people, they hear an idea for the first time and they are in total rejection. I'll even update it while we talk. Step 2, they hear more information and they move into partial rejection. And so the 3rd step is partial acceptance. The 4th step is total acceptance. 5th step is partial assimilation. And the 6th step is total assimilation. Okay? Now this is important because when you understand that this is true not just for booking parties, it's true for people being willing to take a look at your business. It's true for you talking to your spouse about going to dinner and a movie on Friday night. Buying a new car. Okay, some sort of new idea, your brain has to go through these steps. And the way that it goes through these steps is it just keeps being fed more information, right? And so in the home party world, when it comes to booking parties, that's why we talk about the importance of putting bids out during your presentations. Bids are simple statements that tell the benefits of booking a party. And so that's what helps somebody go through that process. So every time I've worked with a consultant who told me she couldn't get parties, two things were going wrong, right? Number one, she wasn't putting out any booking bids. And number two, she wasn't asking the right way. And we'll talk about that later. Okay, but when I started to understand that, right, I could say to myself, okay, this is no longer about me. If I'm doing a really good job with my bids, right, I've worked on it, I've worked on my presentation, I'm putting them out there. If I've done a great job with that, then when somebody tells me they don't want to do a party, either they haven't come through those steps or they just really don't want to book a party. One of the two, right? So it's no longer about me. It's no longer me having my feelings hurt if people say no. And that's actually really helpful information for when you talk to people about the business or when your company's coming out with something new. You've got to understand, you've got to keep promoting it in different ways and help people come through this process. All right, so the third really basic concept I want to talk about is booking is selling, okay? And I talked about it earlier, but it is a process. And it becomes really easy to book parties when you implement the whole sales process of bookings. It becomes easy to teach when you use this process, okay? So I just want to compare it to when you sell your product. Now, if you, let's say that you're selling bags, and I'm picking this because I've got a 31 bag that I love sitting here in my office, okay? And so let's say that you know, you're going to show somebody this bag. You're not just going to go, yeah, here's the bag, want to buy it, right? You're going to go, oh my gosh, look at this adorable bag. It's, you know, it holds your laptop. I don't know the name of this one, sorry guys, but it holds your laptop. It's got this padded section for your laptop. And you can fit all of your other items in this part over here, and it's got this special little pocket on the side, which is so perfect for tucking in your cell phone. You can always figure out where it is. And it's got this little hook that you can hook your car keys on, so you never have to dig for your keys, and so on, right? And it comes in 14 colors, and it's waterproof and spill resistant or whatever. Okay, so I'm making this up, right? No, but in other words, you're going to tell them all of the, not just the features, but why those are good for you. So in that example I just spewed out, it wasn't just there's a place for your keys. It was there's a place for your keys, which is really great because now you don't have to dig for them in the dark. And you can tuck your cell phone in right here so you always know where it is if it's going off. So I told the benefits of those features, right? Well, the same thing is true when you're doing a sales process for bookings. You're going to tell them the benefits, you know, not just, hey, here's the hostess special of the month. It's, oh my gosh, this hostess special is so amazing because, you know, normally it's $97, but you can also get this special, and here's why this is good for you. All right, so that's why this is so important, okay? All right, so I want to tell you, if you have been struggling for bookings or if you have team members who are struggling to get bookings, I want you to understand that you can completely turn somebody's business around with just 3 bookings. Okay, it is that simple to do. So, so literally, we can take you. I cannot find my mouse there. So here's my special 3 to 8 system, and this is based on me moving to new states where I had no connections. Right, 5 different times truth be told, I moved because I was dating a guy. It was actually a couple different guys over time. And that is a bad reason to move. Okay. But I moved to new states 5 different times. And each time I did it, I didn't know anybody. So I was literally starting my personal business from zero, nada, right? And so I had to get my personal business up and running so I could, make sales and meet new prospects and get things going. So I really, because I did it so many times, I got it down to a system, okay? All right, so all I had to do, I figured it out very quickly. All I had to do was get 3 good bookings on my calendar, okay? Because I had mastered how to get bookings for my bookings, right? So if I did a really good job booking parties at those 3 parties, I predictably put 8 new bookings on my calendar. And from those 8 bookings, I'd put at least 13 new bookings on my calendar. And the reason it wasn't higher than 13 is that I was, sponsoring consultants. So as I was sponsoring those people, I was giving them the bookings with their connections. And so literally, you can turn your business around with 3 awesome bookings if you work it right. So that's my 3 to 8 system. Now, I was always focused on 8 guests per party. I just want to show you how some of these numbers work, okay? So I was focused on 8 guests per party, and I know people will go, what, 8 guests? I'm a numbers girl, and I tracked very carefully. I remember I sold clothes, and so at the end of our presentations, we wanted to take people back to the bedroom and help them try things on and help them map out their wardrobes, right? So if I had more than 8 people at a party, my sales per customer went down dramatically because I couldn't give each guest enough special attention. Okay, I mean, I tracked it for years. 8 was my sweet spot. So I would coach my hostesses how to get 10 guests. And I did what I call stack the deck, which is beyond the scope of this training. It's really my hostess coaching training. But I taught her how to specifically get exactly the right people that I needed there, so we had huge sales, okay? And also, so we had 2, 3, 4 bookings for sure. But so because I worked on 10 confirmed guests, we usually had a great group of 8, right? Because a couple people usually postponed at the last minute. So I want you to just see how many people I could connect with from those 8 customers with those bookings. So from the first 3 parties, right, at averaging 8 guests per party, that was 24 potential customers. And from those next 8 parties that I booked, that was another 64 potential customers. And then from the 13 parties from those, that was another 104 potential customers. And so literally, and this would track this per season, which was half a year in our business. So from those 3 good parties, I now had 192 potential customers from just 3 good parties. So that's the impact you can have on your business. So the lesson here is that you can relaunch your business, or you can relaunch one of your non-productive team members' businesses if they're ready to get busy and engage, with just 3 new hostesses and doing a really good job getting bookings from those bookings. All right, so first I learned the fundamentals, but then I learned how to apply those fundamentals in different situations. And let me tell you what I mean by that, okay? First, the fundamentals of the skill. You've got to focus on the mindset. I told you about lather, rinse, repeat, but you really got to understand that it's a process. You need to learn the psychology. I talked about the 6 steps to accepting an idea. You need to learn the tools that you can use, meaning how to do booking bids and those sorts of things. You need to understand booking is a sales process. Now, I even teach more than that in my bookings course, but those are the basic fundamentals. What I did as I was creating, I have a new bookings course, and what I did is I kept really careful notes for 2 years. So I've had a booking, I call it the Essential Skills for Bookings, and it's a really good course, and it taught people booking skills extremely well, but I wanted to take it to a whole nother level. So I did develop this new course, And what I did is I kept notes as I was connecting with my private coaching students. Because what I realized is that they all got really good at booking parties at their parties, right? Because, I taught that, I held them accountable for that. We reviewed any speed bump they had. But then they would start to do other activities, and then they started to have questions about bookings. And so they learned the fundamental skills, but they needed to learn to apply them in various situations. And so this is the list of different areas where they needed to learn how to apply those skills. And again, it's the same process, but it's really learning how to apply those things differently in every event. So just to give you some examples, getting bookings at launch parties. When I'm helping someone launch their business, I'm going to approach bookings a little differently than I do in a regular presentation, because I want to make sure that new consultant has 4, 5, 6 new bookings on her calendar, right? Same thing. If something that people don't often do is getting bookings from those non-attendees. It's like, gosh, teaching people how they can reach out to the people who couldn't attend, and how they can really reach out and get additional orders and then turn that also into bookings is huge. They have tons of bookings dangling out there from that. Bookings from catalog parties, even what you include in your packet when you give the catalogs to the hostess, can make a huge difference in how you get bookings at those parties. And one of my favorites is bookings from vendor events, okay? Did you know that there's at least 7, even 8 sources of bookings at vendor events? I mean, they're all over the place. I mean, I used to walk in and look around and go, oh my goodness, I'm surrounded by prospects. I would be so excited, okay? No, so many times when people do vendor events, they either push, right? And that's when you see somebody who drags somebody in from the aisle to show them their products or talk to them, or they pursue, and those are the people who are standing out there in the aisles, and they're basically dragging people, shoving drawing slips in people's faces, okay? So what we want to do at a vendor event, so I'm just going to use this as one example of how you can take those skills now and apply them. So I'm just going to talk about one of the 7 or 8 ways you can get bookings at vendor events, okay? All right, so remember my lather, rinse, repeat formula. And the first number 1 in that formula is connect, all right? Well, so that means you start to relax and have fun and get to know people at your booth, right? It doesn't mean immediately going, hey, have you heard about XYZ product? Instead, it's like, oh my gosh, I love that you've dyed your hair pink and purple. How was that? What inspired you to do that? It looks great on you. And you get into a conversation. Or, I've noticed that you've got a Colorado sweatshirt on. Are you from Colorado, or is that your favorite place to visit? Tell me more. So it means that you start to have fun conversations with people. And so you've just got to relax and be willing to invest the time to do that. In other words, you can't rush the relationship. I love this. I just said this the other day during a coaching session, and I went, I like that. It's my newest quote. So then number 2 in lather, rinse, repeat, right, is get the people excited about your products. Now, so once you've had a chance to chat and get to know them, invite them to come on into your booth. If you're set up in a booth setting, invite them to come on in and check things out, and tell them you want their opinion and feedback, right? People love to share their feedback. So tell them you want that feedback and let them look around and say, so what are you thinking? And continue to ask questions and engage, okay? As an example, this is really a side note because I shouldn't, it's going to make us run way over. But often people will come up to you in a booth and they'll say, how much is this? Okay. And I love getting that question. And if you're smart about how you approach it, you can say, oh my gosh, that is such a great question. In fact, you've chosen one of our most popular, items. Okay. And then I'm going to go through and say, would you mind if I pointed out a couple really cool features about this? So just like I went through the details of the bag, which I was informed by a 31 person that it's the fashion editor. Thank you, Amanda. So if you're going through the details and you tell them the benefits of all the things that go in this bag, and then you look them in the eye, and you say, now I'm not going to know the price of that bag, sorry, Amanda, but you say, that bag is $89. Tell me, how does it sound to you? Now, people, you don't hesitate to ask that question, right? Because you want them to tell you, do they think that that's really reasonably priced, or do they think it's expensive? So what I found is that about 70% of the people would tell me, oh my gosh, that's really reasonably priced. And I would say, oh, thank you so much for sharing that. But would you be excited if I told you how you could get it absolutely free? Because I would love to tell you more about our Hostess Rewards and show you how you could get this and a whole bunch more stuff free or at a significant discount. And then I can go into talking about bookings, right? So, and there I said, ask for your opinions and feedback, and then ask them to book. Now, if I have somebody, about 30% of the people are going to tell me, well, it's really kind of expensive, or it's out of my budget, okay? Or they might even say, oh, I'd never pay that for that bag. That's okay. I'm still going to say, oh my gosh, thank you for sharing that with me. I really appreciate that feedback. That's one of the big reasons a lot of people will book parties with our company, is that they want to take advantage of the Hostess Rewards and get a bag like this that is beyond their budget, either free or at a significant discount. And then I'll go in and explain their Hostess Rewards, right? So any way they answer the question about price, I'm going to take them down the path of explaining my Hostess Rewards. Is that good for everybody? Just I know I haven't asked you to check in for a minute, so just type in the chat box. Does that make sense? Have you done some of those things at your booths when you're doing vendor events? Give me some feedback, and let me take a sip of water so I don't lose my voice. Make sense to everybody? Are you guys okay? All right. I'm going to keep going then. All right. So when I mastered booking parties right at the booth, I stopped handing out business cards, I stopped handing out catalogs, and I stopped doing drawings. And I came home every time with bookings on my calendar. In fact, I developed this big, I call it my secret booking weapon, but it's this big calendar that I use at a booth, and it works really, really well too. It's just an add-on closing tool, okay? So I come home with bookings right on the calendar, because I used to get so frustrated. I would be wasting hours and hours trying to do follow-up calls, and it just drove me crazy. Oh, thank you, Stephanie. Stephanie's put in, I booked 5 parties at my last vendor event using Susie's plan. It works like a charm, I'm telling you. So good for you. And it feels so good to come home with, you've worked hard, whether it's 1 day or 3 days or however many long it is. It feels so good to come home knowing you have put business on your calendar. Nothing was more frustrating to me than trying to do follow-up calls, and so many times people would check, slips of drawing slips that they wanted all the information, literally because they thought that would help them win the prize, not because they were truly interested. So I got rid of all that. Can I put slide number 2 back? Amanda, let me figure it out for you later, and because I want to keep going here. I attract bookings at vendor events, and it's because I go through that formula and that sales process. So that's just one example. I don't have time to cover all of it, but I said there were other ways to pursue bookings at vendor events, and people miss these all the time. I was a pro at vendor events. Obviously connecting with other vendors, but you have to be really careful how you do that. You want to respect their time that they're there to, work their business. So I just want to get their contact information and connect with them later. Meeting the staff people at the venue. It's why you want to get there really early, okay? Because you want to get there, and when I say the staff people, it could be the people who are actually working for the production company if it's a big event. It could be the people who are working the booths, meaning the like the food booth, or maybe they are helping to set things up. I mean, I always ended up coming home with 1 or 2 bookings with people who were actually staffing the events. Number 3, doing a presentation on stage. Oftentimes, again, depending on the size, you can actually offer to do some sort of presentation on stage and drive people to your booth with a limited time special. We used to actually have herds of people at our booth after doing a presentation on stage. It's fun. It's like madness and fun. Okay. Now I use info slips. Okay, so if someone asks me for a catalog, instead of me giving them a catalog, I let them know that I want them just to fill out this information slip, same exact information you'd put on a drawing slip, okay? And that I will mail them a catalog, okay, at the day after the event. Yes, is that an additional expense for me? Well, yeah, but if I had, 50 people come by and pick up a catalog that they're going to put in the trash when they get home, I'd rather have somebody's contact information and mail it to them. Okay, and that way they don't have to carry it around in their bag. Number 5, asking people if they do belong to organizations that do fundraisers. So when I'm connecting with people, and if they do ask for a catalog, I'm going to also ask them, we have this wonderful fundraiser program, and I only do bookings for fundraisers. I cover that in my bookings course, but I don't have time to cover it here tonight. Using my special booking calendar, again, that's a tool that helps people jump right there at my booth and get on my calendar. And then 7, this is huge. People miss this again all the time. I use a vendor event to bring out my customers and hostesses. I have special gifts and things for them when they come and visit me at a booth, especially if they're already a booked hostess. Okay, so I literally drive traffic to the event myself and have them come and connect with me at the booth. Okay, whew, that's a lot. All right, so that's just one type of booking strategy. Again, this is the list that I figured out from keeping notes from my connection calls. All right, so earlier I promised that I would explain how you could get access to more of this fabulous training, if I do say so myself. I crack myself up sometimes. Okay, so if I hadn't made the conscious decision to master my booking skills and invest both time and money to do that, I would never have been able to build one of the top organizations in my company or the 6-figure income that I maintained for 11 years straight. Okay, that was the key. So to truly master your booking skills, so you have the confidence that you can keep your calendar full and easily book 2, 3, even 4 or more parties at every party, and be able to teach these same skills to your team so that you can build your organization. Here's what you really need to learn. First, the fundamentals, right? The mindset, the lather, rinse, repeat formula of how the business works, the psychological concepts, understanding your hostess rewards and how to use those benefits to get bookings. Learning how to ask the right way, and that means asking with open-ended questions. Learning how to handle the typical, I like to call them speed bumps. I know people will say, oh, objections, but I think they're just speed bumps, okay? And how to handle each one of those. And then using visual tools at your parties or at any kind of event you do. You have so many visual tools that you can use to help you get bookings. Next, once you've mastered those fundamentals, you need to learn how to apply those fundamental skills in every situation, like I just went through with trade shows or vendor events. So in my new course, How to Book Parties Any Time of the Year, no matter where you live, I dive in deep on all of the fundamentals, and then I literally teach you every single possible booking scenario. I literally take you through this entire list. So ways to book new hostesses continually in your business. Getting bookings at launch parties. And really, that's so important for your new consultants. Of course, the foundation, booking parties at your parties. How to book back your hostess from every party. How to book non-attendees. How to get bookings from referrals. There's huge sources of parties out there when you really master how to ask for referrals. Getting bookings at what I call preview presentations. You know what? I have a couple of my private coaching students, and we are doing special projects with their entire team, or actually people who it's a long story how they were selected, but anyway, with groups on their team. And we did a lot of work on getting them to start doing group preview presentations. They're getting over the top phenomenal results with these things. And it's something I did in my business for several years, and they were huge. And so literally, it's a cool concept, and I teach you all how to do it. These guys have just been amazed at the results they're getting. They are not only seeing their consultants book more and more parties, but their consultants are sponsoring as a result. All right, bookings from one-on-ones, bookings from customer care calls, bookings from catalog parties. I'm always amazed how many people don't work a catalog party the right way. Bookings from pop-up parties or open house type events where you don't really have an opportunity to do a presentation. The first couple of years when I was in direct sales before I got with the right company, our company did open houses, and so I had to really learn how to do that. Bookings at vendor events, we just covered one of the 7 or 8 ways to do that. All of them are covered in the course. Bookings from fundraisers, there's really about 4 different ways to do fundraisers. I figured out how to make fundraisers work where I focused on booking parties, and I'll teach you how to do it, teach you how to approach some groups, and really that's the best, easiest way to work a fundraiser. Bookings from networking events. You know, people always forget when they do follow-up. Of course, most don't do the follow-up, but when they do follow-up from networking events, they forget that that person comes to the party with their own agenda, right? They're coming to promote their own business. So you have to use that to your advantage. And here's a big one. My company has studied virtual parties for months now, and we have really got it figured out. So I'm going to teach you how to get bookings at your virtual parties and how to fill a last-minute postponement. There's also advanced techniques that I added into this course. First is handling objections during your presentation. That will also increase your bookings like crazy. Learning how to make the right word choices, because little tweaks to the words you say can have major results. Thinking strategically for powerful follow-up. Booking parties with inactive consultants. I mean, anytime I had someone who was thinking about going inactive in my business, I actually wanted to talk to them about the benefits of becoming a hostess again, and also wanted to make sure that I could connect with her hostesses and keep those parties in my organization. Booking parties by being a guest speaker. I watch people that I'm a member of a networking group here, and I watch people come through as guest speakers, and they rarely have closes where they actually offer somebody something at the end. So I want to teach you how to do that. Tapping into customers from consultants with other companies. This is what I call doing a multi-distributor event. People, a lot of times with the holidays coming up, you'll see consultants do this and call them holiday expos. But basically, you connect up with 6, 7, 8 consultants from other companies, and you all put on an event together. I will give you some tips on how to get bookings from those. And the last thing is how to have a weekly meeting with your boss. And by the way, that's you. Okay, so like I said, this course is jam-packed. Remember when I told you that when you master my booking attraction techniques, your biggest problem will be what to do with all the bookings that you can't put on your calendar. So the final part in the advanced section is my 3-party rule and how to give away a party to a deserving consultant. And finally, I give you my words of advice to easily transition into a booking magnet. So I just want to tell you a couple stories. Helene Leonard, she's one of my private coaching students. When I first talked with her about a vendor event that she was doing with one of her directors that she had promoted, They were just, it was like, well, I don't know, we'll do a drawing or whatever. So I coached them on how to use my secret booking weapon, and through some of the things that we just talked about. She did this vendor event with hardly any attendees, right? It was poor attendance, and yet she and her offspring director came home with 5 bookings on their calendar. Tricia DeVoe, she came into my private coaching. She's amazing. She had been making her business really difficult, doing a lot of booking games and things that were just taking way too much time to prepare for each party. When we got back to the basics and she learned my booking fundamentals, this was last January, okay, middle of the month. She started filling her calendar. She started meeting with prospects. By March, she was DIQ'd in 31. That means she qualified as a director and kept right on going. And by the end of April, when the incentive ended, she had earned her company's leadership trip. In fact, they're going to Punta Cana, I think it is, here in a week or so. So that's the power of booking skills. Dondria Bryant, this woman is so amazing. Okay, she's just the coolest person and so amazing. I'm so fortunate because I've got spectacular coaching students. When she first came into the business, she was really relying on company leads, and she really was not booking parties at her parties. Now her calendar is full 3 months out, if not further. Like I said, that's a great problem to have. Because of that, and with some other skills we worked on, she literally has become a sponsoring magnet. In fact, in June, when her upline leader posted the results from the previous year, because their year ended in June, she had sponsored the most consultants of anybody in her upline leaders organizations. She had sponsored 18 consultants, okay? And that happened because she started out by mastering her booking skills. So that's what it can do for your business. So when you learn my booking attraction skills and strategies, you'll shift into attraction mode and never have to struggle to book parties again. That's the goal. As I explained, it took me several years and investing lots of money and training to figure all of this out, but I want to save you potentially years of struggle. Most of all, I want you to be confident that when you build your team and organization, you know that you're giving them the best coaching, training, and support to be super successful. All right, so that's my new course. Let me tell you what's included. You saw all the modules already. It's an online course, so you can literally dig in. When I say immediately, I mean within 24 hours, because we have to get you set up into the Access system. And so I want you to dig in and get moving on this, because I can't think of a single good reason to build your business slowly. No, there are videos, there are audios, and PDFs of the slides, so you can grab the learning any way you choose. And any module where it applies, I have worksheets that help you specifically apply the skills to your business. Plus, you'll have access to my personal scripts and checklists. Now, you will no longer feel stressed about your business. You will ask for bookings with ease because your prospective hostesses will be excited to book parties. You don't have to twist arms, and you'll have fun. Okay, that's the big deal. Normally, this training is just $297, and that's an investment that you can easily recover with profits from just one or two new bookings, right? But today, if you do it before the end of this webinar tonight, you can invest in the powerful course for just $97. Now, it'll pay you back in time, money, health, peace of mind, fulfillment, and much more. All right, so what will it be like to eliminate the stress from your parties and simply have fun connecting with your guests? How will you feel when a guest walks up to your order table and says, okay, get your calendar out, okay? How great will you feel when you can teach these skills to your team members and help them take control of their lives? And earlier I explained that each time I moved, I could launch my new business with just 3 good bookings. That's seriously powerful. And so, I'm just double checking what I have to do here. When you invest in the course before the end of this webinar, I also have 5 special bonuses for you. Actually, I think it's 6. Bonus number 1, on my Big Booking Blitz course. Okay, now I've done this course with groups of consultants from lots of different companies. And just to give you an example, Susan Milliron, she attended my Big Booking Blitz, and then she actually took the scripts and things that we go through, and she changed the words so that it was the words from her Ruby Ribbon business, okay? They did a company-wide booking blitz, and she had trained her gals with my scripts. They had 7 people who participated. They put 29 new bookings on their calendar for the month of that blitz. And they were the highest in the company, even though they didn't have the biggest number of participants, which should tell you a lot. And she said, oh, thanks to Susie for the scripts and words. They empowered my ladies and gave them confidence to continue making calls. Bonus number 2 is my special training on how to do effective presentations. Every time I've helped a private coaching student give their presentation a makeover, they get immediate results. And I mean immediately. They double their sales, or they start getting 2, 3, 4 bookings, and they start to identify those hot prospects. And it really is, it starts with doing an effective presentation. Bonus number 3, I'm launching a new consistency club, because I really have learned people need somebody to report into. I like to say people kind of suck at being their own boss, okay? And so this is a way that you can just hang out with a group of great people who are all moving to the top in their businesses and hold each other accountable, and I hold you accountable, okay? Bonus number 4, our website, 2 websites, Start a Home Party Business and Blast Away Your Debt. These are both websites dedicated to attracting hot leads for the business. And you can have a directory listing on the website of your choice. Normally that's $97 for a year. And so that's another bonus. Bonus number 5, and this is, oh, I love this. When I put this together for this course, I was so excited. So these are my special business card size laminated cards, okay? And literally, I have taken all of the bullet points, whether it's inviting guests to a preview party, or asking, going through the different types of hostess benefits, or common speed bumps. There's actually 2 cards on that. Common speed bumps you might encounter, so that you're prepared on how to deal with those. So literally, you can keep this in your wallet. And if you're sitting in the card line, the line to pick up your kids, or you've got 10 minutes to kill someplace, you can pull these out and either do a good review, or you can use the ones that are bullet points to make a phone call. Okay, so I love these, but we only made 100 sets. So once they're gone, and I think we've already had 32 of them spoken for. Bonus number 6. And again, this is all about people who are ready to make fast changes and grow their business. So everyone who invests in this course tonight, they will be invited to a special webinar tomorrow night that I call How to Give Your Business a Fast Makeover and Create Exponential Growth. Literally, I've done this now with dozens of consultants. We take them from struggling. I gave you the example earlier of Trisha. We take them from struggling to, growing and starting to build big organizations very, very quickly. So I'm going to teach you what I would do to help you make that happen. All right. So all of that is for an investment of just $97. Now I'm looking to see here. I'm supposed to be able to press a button and share this with you, but I'm not finding the button. So good thing I planned that this could be a problem. And I actually set it up on a web page too. So here is the link. It's called howtobookparties.com webinar special, and I will put it in the chat box so you can see it. And this, all those bonuses do go away. Oh, maybe I got to put in my HHH. Sorry. HTTP. There, it came through as a link. Whoopie-doo. Okay. So if you go to that web page, that's where you can place your order for the new booking course called How to Book Parties Any Time of Year, No Matter Where You Live. Okay? Now, I want to answer the top 3 questions that I always get, and then I'm going to open this up for questions. And so literally, you've got like 20 to 30 minutes if you want to grab your investment in that course and then all of the bonuses. Okay? All right, so the first question I always get, I'm just getting started, so should I wait to invest in training until I have some more experience? And it's like, no. See, it took me so much time to undo my bad habits, right? You know, I told you I'd ask people, oh, do you want to book a party? And they'd go, no. And I'd go, okay, thank you. Well, I literally had to, you know, like put Post-it notes inside my calendar and look at those Post-it notes and read, you know, and I'd still ask the wrong way. And I'd go, oh, you know, darn. And it takes too much time. So literally, we want to get you on the fast track and get you so confident in booking parties. In fact, you know, I told you I'm doing these 2 special groups with couple of my private coaching students. They have 2 brand new consultants in those groups, actually 3, and they have, in their first 30 days in the business, they qualified, which in that company is over 1,000 in sales. And the one has already sponsored her first person. They have full calendars for September, and they're working with prospects already. This is after just 4 weeks in the business, right? We want to get you on the fast track, and that all starts with confidence in your booking skills. What did I just do? I moved my thing the wrong way. Okay, all right, here we go. Number 2, here's the second top question I often get, okay? How is this different than the training in my back office or other training? And it's like, you know what, I know your company's put some good information out there, but a lot of times it's just, you know, here's what you should say, or here's some of the bids you should put out. Some of them tell you to do booking games. You know, I highly disagree with that. But here's the thing. I've reviewed lots of training. I told you I kept a list for 2 years of the questions I got from my private coaching students. I really have put everything in this course. So anything that comes up about bookings, you've got the answer for it. And I specifically did the separate modules on each of the different, you know, activities, like bookings at vendor events and bookings for fundraisers and all those different things, so that when you have those activities coming up, you can go into the course, dig into those modules for a quick review to think of your strategy and think of how you're really going to come out of those things with tons of bookings, right? So that's why I did it that way. All right, the third thing is I just don't have the money. Now, guys, this is $97. And I understand if you're, you know, if you're just getting started and that sort of thing, or if you've been on a little bit of a lull and haven't done many parties over the summer, I understand that, okay? But that's really why we've got to get you working on these skills quickly, right? That's how we can change that circumstance in your life, is because, you know, you don't have the money coming in because you haven't mastered the skill of booking parties. So that's why I would really encourage you to think about investing in yourself and in your business right now. And literally, you can, you know, invest in that, get busy, book some parties this next week, and recover the cost before the credit card bill comes through, right? So I really, you know, people who invest in growing their business and invest in their education always grow their businesses faster than those who don't. All right, so this is the URL again. So with that, I certainly want to welcome any questions you might have in the chat. Okay. What questions do you have? Did I cover it all so thoroughly? I'm ready for any questions on anything, literally. So go ahead. I'm here for you. All right, so I mentioned before that there are lots of different areas. In fact, let me find that slide. And I think, Amanda, when you said vendor event slide 2, so let me see if I can find that. Whoop, way back up here. Vendor event slide 2. All right, is this the one you were looking for, Amanda? Let me know if that. Oh, Amanda said Riviera Maya. Okay, so I got the location wrong on that trip. I don't know. There's so many of them floating out there with different companies. I'm always confused. All right, so you said vendor event. So here's the different part. You want to connect and you want to really spend the time. You know, you can't worry that there's other people that might not be stopping, right? I would rather go and make great connections with a couple dozen people than worry about trying to get the names of the 100. Okay, so it really is huge. So you connect and you can't rush that relationship, and then you want to really work to get them excited about your products. So Amanda, I hope that helps. Is that the slide you were looking for? Let's see. Deb says it sounds like a great deal. It is a great deal, Deb. So, and all those bonuses aren't available beyond the webinar tonight. So I do hope, especially, you know, let me talk for a second about tomorrow night's webinar. Because you know what, I really find people in our business tend to really, and I did this, so this is how I know this, but we make our businesses way too difficult. Okay, and you know, everybody comes in and they all have creative ideas, and I do mean creative ideas, but one of the things that slows everybody down in this business is making it way too hard. Okay, so you really want to work to keep your business really, really simple. Oh, welcome, Diane. I see you grabbed the spot. Congratulations. And so really, when I figured out, because I did this, I quit my engineering job, and I had this little voice in my head that said, oh my gosh, you know, I've got to show them how smart I am because I'm an engineer. And all of a sudden one day I was doing all these crazy things, and I was teaching my consultants how to do all these crazy things. And all of a sudden, literally one day when I sat back and I went, oh, the brilliant thing to do in this business is to keep it so simple that everybody who is watching you tells themselves, I can do what she's doing, right? So, you know, we had a woman who was just phenomenal in our business who could do all these fashion things, and she brought all these, you know, different jewelries and showed all these different ways for, you know, for making your outfits look spectacular. She never built a big organization because she was just so darn good. Okay, I kept it really simple and kept it so that everybody who watched me, and I mean at every single level in the business, could copy what I did. And that's really what helped my business grow like crazy. So then when I learned booking skills, and I really learned how to teach those booking skills to my consultants that I sponsored, and then my consultants that, you know, were in my overall organization. Again, my business, we did with a unit of about 65 people. And remember, in my former company, my sales from what some people would call level 2 or level 3 didn't count in our annual sales for earning trips or anything like that. So when I tell you that my business that we did $1 million in sales, that was with my what some people call generation 1, or some companies like 31 call it Gen 0. Okay. And literally, you know, we did that because my gals were so darn good at booking parties. So we did $1 million in sales most years with, you know, easily an average of 60 consultants in my organization. So we were good. Oh, and welcome, Amanda. I'm so glad you're in the program. Congratulations. You got all those bonuses. So that's spectacular. Stephanie says, for me, by using just a few of your techniques, I've booked parties and events and now sponsor 3. And one of my downline just signed to sponsor 2. Stephanie, congratulations. I had the privilege of spending some time on the phone with Stephanie. I met her on another webinar a couple months ago. And so good. I'm so glad to hear that you're growing your business. So thank you for that feedback. I appreciate it a ton. So congratulations. All right, so the webinar on Monday night, again, you're invited exclusively when you invest in this program. Again, I will talk you through first what people do wrong that slows down their business, right? Because you kind of don't realize how you're really slowing things down. It's tough then to make the change. And then I literally will give you an overall plan for how you can go ahead and get your business streamlined to start growing like crazy. Especially if you think about that we are coming in now to this fall season. And, you know, as fall season in my former company was our huge, huge, huge time of year. And we would literally probably have 40% of our sales in September, October, November, if not higher. Okay, so it was a huge time of year, and that momentum that we could build with new consultants and all that kind of stuff could carry us right into positioning our business for just outrageous success the upcoming year. So it's a really great time to get things streamlined and to start creating that exponential growth. So, all right, other questions that you have? All right. Well, listen, there's just a few more minutes. If you decide you're going to be part of this program and capitalize on all those bonuses and get your special invitation to tomorrow night's webinar, that webinar is scheduled for 9 p.m. Eastern time. So please, so check your schedules and mark that down, because it's an important webinar to be on. Because it's really going to give you some great tips. So cool. Any other questions? Otherwise, I really want to thank all of you for being here tonight. I really have enjoyed this, and I really appreciate the questions, the feedback. Thanks, Stephanie, for your feedback. And again, welcome to Amanda and Diane and the other people who are signing up as we speak. So have a great evening. Thanks for being here, and we'll talk to you again soon. Good night, everybody.